Good morning. I'm your host, Tony. Really excited to welcome you today to another extraordinary gallery tour that we've lined up. And today we are joined by the one and only Vinnie Hager to tour a gallery curated with his latest collection, Still Life, which consists of 200 one-of-one ordinals that were released last Tuesday. Good morning, Vinnie. How are you, my friend?
GM, doing lovely. How are you?
I'm doing great. Beautiful Thursday over here in Florida. Hope the weather's treating you well over there as well.
It's been a little weird. We had like a tornado warning last night, a lot of rain over here in Maryland, but all is well. I think the sun's trying to peek out here, so steadfast.
Let's go. Well, hopefully a tornado didn't actually come by and mess anything up or give any power outages. That would be terrible. But glad to hear everything's well. And I know we just started the space. People are trickling in. Thank you to all the listeners that are in here. If you could, please show some love with a little retweet or a little comment on the tweet to get the algorithm going. We got a great gallery tour lined up today, so it's going to be really fun. I have pinned up the link to the gallery up top, so make sure you get on in there so that we could check out some art. But without further ado, I know everybody listening, Vinnie, is probably already familiar with you, but for anyone that's not, can we just get like a quick little intro from you? Maybe who is Vinnie Hager?
Ooh, what a fun question. Yeah, I've been, full-time artist, creator both in Web 2 and Web 3, kind of have a traditional art background. Went to the Maryland Institute College of Art here in Baltimore, where I am right now, but was always creating artwork in as many different kind of artistic fields as I could. So starting with, traditional things, paintings, works on paper, did a lot of clothing, murals, different commission work with brands, and then ultimately started exploring kind of the Web3 space maybe late 2019, early 2020, and been steadfast here trying to explore as many things as I can since then. So kind of quick synopsis there.
Sorry, I had been muted there, but thank you. I appreciate the quick intro, Vinnie. That was going to lead into my first question, which was, what initially sparked your interest in art and kind of how did your early experiences shape your artistic journey? And I was going to ask if, you had any formal training or schooling, but you did. So you already answered that part.
Yeah, I think I grew up in my childhood house was filled with a lot of artwork, a lot of colors, a lot of different things on the wall. My mom was super creative, did a lot of design work and things like that. So, as a little kid, I was kind of not pushed into the arts, but encouraged to draw and create, coloring books, chalk on the driveway, all those fun things. And I think that just kind of led me to keep doing it. I was always the kid in school that was took all the art classes, that was always drawing on his papers and things like that. So I think, starting from there, it just cascaded, and it has ceased to stop. It's only been more ever since.
Yeah, it's always great to see someone, get a little flame sparked in them from early age and really turn that into a lifelong passion. I love to hear that. And when did you, kind of discover Web3 and crypto Twitter itself, and what was it about it that really clicked for you?
Yeah, I think there was a couple different things. I had one of my good friends, Rico. He was we grew up skateboarding together and things like that, and he was kind of trading crypto kitties and stuff in 2017.
He was early.
He was, and he would kind of tell me about it, and I'd be like, dude, I don't know what any of this means. Like, what are you talking about? Buying digital cats and things like that. And of course, fast forward, I was really big into the cool cats community and things like that. But so he was a big proponent to he got like MetaMask on my computer and things like that. And at that time, probably late 2019, I was primarily just using Instagram to share my artwork. And I was like, I have a Twitter. Maybe I should like go on there and just start following a bunch of artists just to have a different social media to share on and to engage with other people. And that led me to follow artists like Ferocious and Jonathan Wolf and Defaced, cause they were pretty early on and really was influenced by them and how they were minting their artworks, which was kind of just a brand new concept to me then. And then kind of like, I guess like a third bullet point to my entry was, at that same kind of time period, I was doing a lot of, airbrushed home goods and clothing and rugs and furniture and stuff like that. And I went and delivered this big, like, octagon shaped rug that I had painted to, somebody that was local. He had purchased it off my web store, and he was kind of telling me about the digital space, and he was asking me if I knew what Decentraland was, and you're talking about these people that were whales and all these kind of terminology that we might know now, but it was pretty new to me then. And he was like, dude, you should really kind of dip your toes in here. I think you could do a lot of cool stuff. And with that kind of encouragement, and then seeing what other artists were doing, and having a close friend that was into it as well, kind of all culminated me to fall down that proverbial rabbit hole that we all kind of do. So that's how I kind of got here now.
I love that. That's a great story. It's obviously great to have you here. I think it worked out for the better, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, just trucking along, trying new stuff, exploring things through both physical and digital artwork. So it's a lovely time, and as they say, we're still early.
Were there kind of any pivotal moments, or maybe like a mentor that kind of significantly influenced your career path, or really pushed you to keep making art, or dive into the digital ocean of Web3?
No, I think sadly no. I think maybe I always kind of wanted a mentor or something like that. I'm probably still looking. It's always great to have some guidance and people to talk about your ideas and progress and process and things with. But I think somehow I just kind of had this, it's really seen, I think, in my drawing style. I have a very addictive drawing style. So I just kept going, exploring and creating. And I think that kind of own willpower led me into a lot of different places, with my artwork. But, there was a lot of friends along the way, and a lot of different artists along the way that helped out and was able to, teach me things along the way. But, not like a standout figure that I'd say was pretty pivotal. But.
Well, if you're looking for a mentor, in due time it will happen. I believe in destiny. If you put it out there, you will manifest it into your life. So.
Oh, for sure. I think it's just always good to have close knit friends and people that you can, tell your ideas and stuff to. So yeah, I think all is well.
For sure. And just a quick reminder for anybody that's just joining into the Twitter space, we are in World right now. We are about to begin the tour. We were just asking some, intro questions to Vinnie. Please click that link that I have there pinned at the top, and we're going to get started here in a minute.
I am the little anonymous chimper running around.
I love the Anon chimp. We got to get you a profile created, my friend.
I do. I did create one a while back, but I just got into the gallery earlier today and hadn't logged in, so yes. So I was just kind of messing around. But yeah, dude, the gallery looks great. Thank you guys so much for putting it all together. Excited to see everybody in here and running around.
Yeah, for sure. We wouldn't be here today without your artwork. So thank you for having this lovely art cover the walls in here. And, it's like filling up a canvas.
Yeah, it's so strange to see it like this. Strange as in like a good way. I've either been kind of staring at these artworks in a lot of different ways and in a lot of different iterations over the past few months. And it's great to kind of just see them all together in this space. So yeah, thanks again.
Yeah, no problem. So I guess we could get started with this tour. First off, I have your excerpt here on the wall. So Still Life by Vinnie Hager. Still Life is Vinnie Hager's new body of artwork, which contains 200 one-of-one pieces created using a mixture of traditional and digital mediums over the past 8 months. With this collection, Vinnie is keen on reflecting how his artwork evolves over time and over different blockchains. Vinnie is moving away from long-standing patterns, both in his art and life. These shifts have been necessary for personal and artistic growth. Really love that description, and it kind of leads me to the question of, could you maybe elaborate on that shift that you felt in your art making process and lifestyle since your last collection in September of 2023?
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of things there. I know it's always kind of tough to put in personal growth into kind of an artist's statement like that. It's always, most artists, feel personal and artistic growth over time with the things that they're working on. But I kind of really felt a shift, both in my personal life and the way I was drawing and the way I was creating. I think given some of my other previous collections, like letters that I did, which was kind of my Genesis collection on ETH that came out in October of 2021, kind of had this very rigid, static, bold line patterns, these shapes and symbols that I would do a lot. And it kind of felt, I think static is the right word. I was kind of doing this drawing style a lot. It became kind of a signature of mine, and it can only go kind of so far. And so through just my general art practice, I'm always drawing, I'm always scribbling, I'm always trying to get out of my comfort zone when I'm creating, so things don't feel that static and I don't want to say stale, but for me, I'm always kind of itching for something new and exciting. And I think the way I was creating these artworks in particular, these kind of 200 pieces, felt very in line with that. I was keeping in mind ways to get me out of my comfort zone when drawing. And I think to do that always gets me to a place that I feel really excited about it. And I think these artworks are just that. They were much more gestural, much more abstract, some are less maximal than my other artworks. Some have a lot of breathing room and negative space and a lot of mixed media elements and collage elements that I hadn't done. I was using like a scanner. I had filled a sketchbook for one of like the first times in my life over the past year, which is another weird thing that I guess I just really haven't done. So I was scanning in artworks and using Photoshop and different compression tactics and tools and kind of cropping a lot of the artworks, which were just ways I hadn't viewed my artwork in general, given the kind of style that they were before. And a lot of these are, really weird kind of subconscious feelings and thoughts that I kind of just scribble down. And I guess that's kind of like a starting point for a lot of these was just me trying to get out of my comfort zone artistically. And changed up some kind of personal things in my life, more healthier habits, trying to get on a good personal schedule, calming down on a lot of bad vices and things like that. So that those kind of personal things all culminated into these artworks as well. I guess would be a good kind of touchstone to start off on.
Yeah, I love that. It's definitely important, if you're feeling static or you're feeling like you need to change, to explore that as an artist. And what better way to do that than, changing up your art a little bit. I'm standing in front of this gradient piece over here to the left. I really love these gradient ones. They all look great, by the way. Note to self. And, I guess one of the first questions that I have is, how did you come up with the name Still Life? What inspired that title for the collection?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I love titling things. It's probably one of my favorite things to do. And I think Still Life came from, I was kind of fell down the rabbit hole of studying like old painters, and I really liked David Hockney, and he was just kind of painting outside and looking at life. And I felt like during this time, end of 2023, I felt like my life was kind of a busy blur. There was like one too many things just going on, too many projects, too many wants and needs, and too many swirling ideas and racing thoughts. I'm sure a lot of people, go through that and go through the motions there. But I just needed to kind of, distill back, maybe for lack of a better word, what I was doing and where I was spending a lot of my time. And the one place where I want to spend the most time is in my artwork. So I was just trying to create in different ways that allowed me to find this excitement in artwork, that I might have been lacking just a little bit towards the end of, 2023. I needed something to spice it up. And I think Still Life, I was, really inspired by, painters and painterly, art processes and things like that. And that kind of got my artwork out of this kind of static shapes and symbols and into this, maybe more gestural and abstract and ways like that. So, Still Life has a few different meanings. I think when you think of a still life, it's usually, kind of a traditional art terminology. You create a still life and then you paint it. You have a vase or a vase with flowers and some other things that you kind of create and then paint. And I think I do that a lot in my artwork. There's a lot of characters that come up a lot, whether it's, the envelope, the peace sign, a lot of these different shapes and symbols. So I really wanted to kind of take another look at those that I always do, these kind of through lines through a lot of my artworks, and try to shift those up a little bit in different ways. So yeah, it was a lot of different things culminated into one for the title, at least.
Yeah, I feel like it's a super well-fitting title. You know, given that I got all the context from that document that you had put out, I think it fits very well. And I could tell that you love titling things, because all 200 of these artworks have very unique and, you know, really nice titles. And I can only imagine how long it took you to individually title all of these, because, you know, it's not just like titled like 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got names like Tentacle Acres and Taxes.
It's so fun, dude. Yeah, a lot of them are. I like the one that we kind of started on over here, Note to Self. I'm always kind of leaving, you know, my notes app or my Twitter drafts, or, you know, notebooks filled with ideas and little blurbs, and you just kind of hear things, you know, whether I'm watching like 1,000 YouTube videos, or you're on Twitter Spaces, or you're reading through Twitter. There's always these little blips of things that I think, oh, that's kind of like an interesting title. Like that could be funny. Or it's, little moments, in my life that are fun. You know, I was just talking about, being inspired by, you know, classical painters, and this one's like a Monet study. Like I just tried to copy, you know, I was really into Impressionism for a little bit there, and I went to like the National Gallery and was like kind of sketching and drawing there, and, you know, interested in that. So, you know, that's kind of where some of the titles come from, little blips and blurbs that I find across my journeys.
Yeah, some of these titles are definitely very self-descriptive. I love this Monet piece, by the way. I think it's so beautiful. But then you have one over here called Ozempic. I'm just like,
I mean, just for the meta, the meta of the times, you know, you hear about everybody on Ozempic and like how bad it is for people that I guess shouldn't take it, you know, like celebrities and stuff that are hoarding it. It's just kind of stuff you hear. So there's always kind of, blips there from the titles that are, you know, of the times. And I was just looking at another one over here that was pretty, I thought was interesting. Like, this growth phase one, you know, super, that one's like super personal, just in a moment, of trying new things and outgrowing others. And then the kind of one next to it, the Havening, you know, has a little Bitcoin coin up in the top left. So it's kind of synonymous with, where I put the collection and things like that. And some are just fun inside jokes like Midtopia, you know. So they all range from different things.
Yeah, I really love this growth phase. Love the color on it. You know, you had mentioned that you underwent a period of self-reflection. You had spent a month in Europe during September of last year. It was a time where you had been very overwhelmed by stress, vices, you know, an overload of responsibilities. I would love to, you know, hear a bit about your time in Europe and how it really contributed to the creation of Still Life.
Yeah, I don't know how super in depth I'll go about it, but it was kind of a time where, you know, I hadn't spent, you know, definitely felt like I've been quite half a homebody, half kind of a recluse. Don't really go out too much. I'm just kind of always working on art stuff, but I was working with a couple friends who were based out in London. So I was out there for a month and, was working on a lot of different projects, and not that I was kind of feeling burnt out, but I felt like I was taking on maybe too much, and I needed to kind of roll it back a little bit and focus on to just a couple things, and, you know, drinking probably too much, and those things. And I just kind of, you know, stopped drinking since, been on a better personal schedule and a personal timeline, and kind of taking things, one thing at a time here. And in doing all of that, I was spending a lot more time outside, and, you know, kind of just going on walks without my phone, kind of literally trying to unplug a bit. And, of course, through that time, I just spent it drawing, and I was starting to look at different scenes around me, and I was kind of always drawing these shapes and symbols and the imagery that I had come to know. So I took some time outside and was drawing landscapes and trying to like digitally paint outside, and just to get myself out of those comfort zones that some may feel in their own artworks and in their own personal life, in the things that they do. So for me, I was trying to kind of shed that extra baggage and kind of distill all that into this body of artwork, really. I think it came kind of full circle there, and really proud of it, and all the kind of shift that I've seen in my artwork and in my personal life. So we're still steadfast there.
I love the personal growth. Congratulations, on not only releasing this collection, but on the personal changes that you've gone through your life, during the process of that, drinking less, walking more, doing more exercises, just having a better state of mind is super beneficial and super important whenever you're, in a creative role like that. I know you mentioned that you did a lot of walking and sketching, particularly the plain art sketches in Richmond Park and the Richmond rooftop. What kind of role did that play, in your creative process for you?
Dude, yeah, I think it even goes a step before those. I always kind of hark back on, we were talking about kind of traditional art backgrounds and stuff like that, and I'd taken this experimental drawing class in college, and I thought, experimental drawing, it'll be super fun and interesting. And I ended up having like a really hard time breaking my own drawing habits. Like I kind of mentioned, I'm just always drawing shapes and symbols and filling space, and I always keep borders around my artwork. And I kind of had these rules that I always worked in that I didn't realize how, I don't want to say permanent, but how important they were. And trying to break those was really, really hard. And I think drawing outside and trying to draw things from life, back to the kind of still life title, was something that I struggled with. I could have, the way I draw is kind of, I always draw with a really, I press, when I'm drawing physically, even digitally, I press really hard with the materials that I'm using, and just to get more painterly and to try to get out of that comfort zone of creating, was kind of a starting off point with some of those, digital and plein air paintings I was doing, where I was just trying to draw the landscapes and get the colors correct, and, just kind of get out of that comfort zone, really.
I love that. Yeah, it's super important to, expand your horizons. And how did the use of, the traditional and digital mediums kind of help you reassess your approach to art?
Yeah, I think I was kind of creating in one way, and I kind of was just like, what are a few different materials and ways that I could, I'm always drawing and always creating, but what would be kind of some constraints, kind of some creative constraints that could be interesting to work in. And I found myself, keeping a sketchbook, which I had never really done, and then using watercolors and more painterly materials. And then of course I was like, it also has to be more digital at some point. So I was using, a scanner, scanning in the sketchbook and these different paintings and watercolors and drawings. And, I was also, over the past year, I had a friend help me just kind of scan in all of these scraps and notes, and, my grandma writes me little notes, so I'd scan in those, and stickers and a bunch of different stuff. So I was doing like a lot of digital collaging in some of these works. They're kind of mixed media in different ways. This one over here, Debauchery, has like some handwritten notes and ideas from some family members of mine, and they were written on like paint chips that you get at Home Depot. So there's different mixed media elements and different like envelopes I'd get in the mail physically, and I'd kind of collage those in there. So it was kind of an amalgamation of all these different things, and then taking those artworks into Photoshop and cropping them and distilling them down. And of course, when I kind of started to learn about ordinals and things, a lot of artists were telling me, there's kind of these creative constraints that could be really interesting to think about when you're working in that lane, and that would be like smaller file sizes and things like that. So I think without those constraints, I don't think really any of these artworks, specifically how they look now, just wouldn't be there. So really excited to see the kind of evolution of my bodies of artworks through different chains as well. Letters on ETH is this kind of, bold lines, shapes, patterns, and these ones are much more figurative and gestural and abstract. So just kind of really moments in time for my artwork in these collections, which I'll be really excited to continue to look back on probably decades and decades from now. For
sure. I love the new approach, the new path that you're taking for your art. It's always great to see. And I know you were talking about, combating potential burnout, and you had said you wanted to create in ways that really made you feel uncomfortable. And some of the unfamiliar materials and concepts that you were exploring to combat that potential burnout. You had a really great write-up in that document that you had released. I encourage anybody that's listening to go and read it. But yeah, you had listed several materials and ideas that you had focused on in your art practice from, late 2023 to mid 2024. You had written things such as draw freely, slow down, be more digital. How would you say that, these kind of principles have kind of guided your artistic practice since you've started to incorporate them?
Yeah, I think they really just got me out of a comfort zone and this kind of feeling. Yeah, I don't want to say stale, but it was like, I could only do so much with a certain drawing style that I had done before. And I just didn't ever want to limit myself just to that. And I think naturally my artwork's going to evolve. And I think placing those constraints on me helped me kind of flourish in different ways. I think talking to some other artists, they hate to kind of have rules and constraints. And for me, I was like, some are nice. I think some allow you to get out of your comfort zone here. And I think that's really what my artwork is all about for me. It's just this way to get things out of my head onto paper a lot, and to see them kind of go through these different iterations and different styles, really remind me of different things that I've went through and continue to go through, whether it's in, my personal life or just in my art making practice. So, it's really great to kind of see them all displayed like this too, and remembering kind of working on each one and where they kind of stem from. And, yeah, I just never want to get too stale and feel like, well, man, what am I going to do next? I feel like I got 1,001 different ideas, and that'll kind of drive me nuts. That'll encourage my racing thoughts to go kind of crazy. So if I can kind of distill those back into, working in a few different constraints, it really helps me kind of focus.
Yeah, totally. With working outside of your comfort zone usually comes, new challenges. What were some of the challenges you would say that you faced with the release of Still Life?
Yeah, well, a lot of my older artwork I would feel was much more maximal. And as soon as I kind of filled the canvas, whatever that was, the piece would be done. And in a lot of these, they were, not all the space was filled. They weren't, some could be, I remember some people were like, is the artwork done? And I was like, yeah, I think they're done, and finished. And I kind of like how some of them are much more simpler than others. Some are still very jam packed, but some have much more breathing room. So just to kind of let my artwork be done when it felt done, which is kind of weird to say, allowed a lot of these artworks to come to fruition. So it was really kind of hard to distill down a lot of the artwork I was creating just to these kind of 200 pieces. Some stand out definitely more than others to me. But I think it was all trying to get to a place in my art practice and in my drawing specifically that I felt really comfortable in, and that I thought had a lot more room to grow.
Totally. We were having a spaces last week with Batstu, and something similar came up.
Absolute legend.
Yes, totally. Shout out to Bats. But, you could spend 200 hours on a piece, or you could spend 1 hour on a piece, but only you as the artist really knows when it's ready. It's not like the more or the less time is really what does it for you. And we were talking about, I think an X-Copy quote that he had put out. If it hits, it hits. And when you know a piece is ready, you just know. So.
Totally. Yeah. And I think, yeah, I would echo that when I kind of, finally put all these kind of 200 pieces in a grid, and I was going through them on my hard drive before, kind of really showing them to a lot of people. I was like, damn, this feels really good to me. It feels like the next iteration of things that I want to work towards and to work on. So it felt really like, there's this narration, there's a narrative through a lot of the things that I mint specifically. I create way more art than I mint or that I even share on social media. So the ones that I do, I want them to have this, the sense that they're kind of moving as time moves on, from my letters collection to other artworks that I minted to this collection. There's, you can kind of see the transition from time moving onward and me trying different things and just trying to explore my artwork in different ways, whether that's, in the traditional sense or in the digital sense. So that's always what I'm trying to push towards.
I love that. We have a lot of people in the second room here looking at this wall. We have TC, shout out to TC who's listening in. He's looking at a short little movie piece over here.
Which one are we looking at?
Well, I'm standing by the Clone X, and we're in front of a short little movie, the blue piece here. I think I see an MFer in there actually now that I'm looking closely.
He might be in there, dude. Yeah, I wanted to, I was trying to work on this video. I'll probably still put it out. I was looking through just my once again, looking through different hard drives of, I used to film skateboarding and I'd have, explore VHS cameras and Super 8 cameras and film a bunch of stuff on my iPhone. And, so I have all this footage of stuff, and I was working on kind of a movie of sorts, a short little movie, that I was going to kind of put out in tandem, with this collection. And I think, obviously the video hasn't come out. I don't know if it will. Or really what it will consist of, but the working title for that was a short little movie, and I thought that was kind of a fitting title for one of these pieces, and it happened to be this one, which is features just a little smiley face guy, and he's kind of got this bicep in there, and this kind of packed kind of cube of scribbled color pencils, which is always fun. And that one kind of goes well next to this Frozone one, which has become maybe one of my favorites out of the collection. Something about it. I don't know. A lot of these, really kind of coming from, my subconscious too. My girlfriend's an art therapist, and she was kind of in awe at the kind of evolution in my artwork, and how a lot of kind of personal things and personal growth that she's seen through me came through in these artworks, which was really nice. And it's kind of great to see them all up like this again. And recounting kind of where they all came from.
And how did you choose the color palette? You have so many colorful pieces in here, and then you have ones like From Around My Way, which are just black and white. What kind of was your influence there?
Yeah, those would the gradients and the black and white ones were definitely meant to be the kind of rares of the collection. There's only a few of each. And they were kind of some of my favorite pieces that I had done. So when so I scanned in all the artworks, and then digitally kind of collaged them, colored them, compressed them, and all that. And they were kind of all a muted palette. So we just went in, individually and just tweaked the colors. And, some of the colors are akin to the titles, and sometimes the titles are akin to what we colored them. So there's a little back and forth there. But just really just had fun with the coloring and tried to have a good range of different shades and, different gradients and things like that. That was definitely an idea that I carried over from my letters collection. Just, different collectors and different people, like different colors and want to experience and collect certain things. I remember some people, would only collect blue art or things like that. So there's always fun things to give a little bit to each person.
Yeah, I love that. I know you were touching on a little bit about the rare aspect of these. Can you kind of touch a bit on the notable attributes? Like I know one's on the Block 9 sats, on the first transaction sats, and some of those even on the ones mined by Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah, for sure. I was lucky enough to get into a few discords early on in my ordinals journey, and was talking to some people from the classified CC community, and they were super open to just talking to me about things. And I learned a lot about, different sats and rare sats from them. And, this one guy happened to just, gift me some sats, and they were the ones that I was able to inscribe on. And I think rare sats are just kind of a cool extra thing. I didn't really kind of publicize what sats or anything that they were inscribed on. It was kind of just like an extra thing if, people were really interested in those. So, it was cool. There's, the one kind of the standout piece of mine, kind of became the,
this is the piece in the back that I have enlarged.
Yeah.
Right?
Altar piece.
Talking about altar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about this one.
Yeah, it was, to me, this one was just kind of like the standout piece. I don't know it, given, Still Life, the title kind of goes towards flowers and growth and, all this kind of imagery that I drew. This was kind of, in a way, the next version of that in my eyes. You know, a lot of eyes, a lot of shapes and stars and flowers, and it just kind of felt like an altarpiece. It was this main image, and this is the only piece that's inscribed on a different sat than all the other ones. And that was like, it's on a black uncommon Omega sat. And I know a lot of people probably know a lot more about those than I do, but it was fun to explore them and continue to learn about them. And this piece in particular just seemed like the pinnacle of this collection for some reason. I use it as kind of the main image on Magic Eden, and I keep going back to it. It's a special one to me.
Yeah, this is a beautiful one. I think it's very fitting for the main image that you got there. But what kind of motivated you to use Magic Eden as the platform for releasing this collection?
Yeah, I had been in talks with Magic Eden for kind of many months before I even had the full concept and all the art done, and they just been doing a lot of great things in the space. I had some other artists kind of recommend Magic Eden to me as well, and they just seemed super helpful and really wanted to work on this together. So it was really simple, and we just had conversations over the past few months up until now. So yeah, they've been great, and they're always kind of leading the charge here in marketplaces, it seems, and always innovating and trying to add new stuff to their marketplace, which is great. And yeah, we're super supportive.
Definitely. Shout out to Magic Eden. Love seeing all of the new Ordinals collections that they're putting out there. They're collaborating with so many great artists, and you're one of them. And so thank you as well for releasing this. This is a truly beautiful collection that, I think has allowed you to explore new realms and really push beyond your comfort zone. So I'm happy for you.
Yeah, thanks so much. I think it's, I can't believe it's kind of come full circle. I feel like I've been working on these artworks for so long now, and, kind of distilling them into these, individual 200 works is a really special moment in time for me. And, we'll be kind of deciding what to do, with the remaining amount. I know the mint we started on Tuesday, probably got about 38 or 39 minted, which is super sick. So, really stoked on that, and gonna kind of figure out what we're gonna do next year with the remaining supply, whether I kind of keep those or distribute them in different ways. So figuring it all out, and super excited to kind of, start trekking forward in this Bitcoin journey. And I'm always interested in trying to explore different chains, and always like my artwork in general, kind of whether it's in, the traditional way of, my artwork lives in paintings, works on paper, murals, architecture now, furniture, and then of course into the digital space, whether it be different blockchains or releasing it in different ways. So those are always things that I'm excited about. And yeah, I think, time will tell here. So we truck forward.
Time will tell. That's right. Just got to keep going. Feel free to shill a little bit. So 0.03 Bitcoin for each piece, correct? When's the mint open until? Yeah,
mint, where it's just open now, indefinitely. I think we might, probably try to figure out something next week. We lowered the price a bit to, 0.025 Bitcoin, which I think is, I wanted to value the artwork in a certain way, which I think people had some concerns about, which I kind of agree with and are listening to them. So we're trying to figure out, kind of what to do next and how to continue to release these in maybe a different way. But yeah, the mint is still open now. Nothing's changed there. All on Magic Eden. So it's, pretty sick.
Yeah, anybody that's interested, anyone that's listening along here, feel free to go to Vinnie's profile and check out this beautiful collection on Magic Eden. Grab a little piece, show some love. Definitely would be great for anybody to have one of these in their collections. So
yeah, thanks for saying that. I really appreciate it. I think there was also some. My whole thing was, a lot of my collectors are on ETH. And was kind of hoping to kind of bridge that gap. Maybe I got a lot of DMs about this maybe being their first ordinal, and I think there was some kind of confusion about swapping wallets and doing different things like that. So I might try to do a bit more of a breakdown for them moving forward, as well. It's kind of new to me. I think ordinals in general is only around for a year and a half, 2 years or so now. So it's just interesting to get involved and to continue to learn and try to share artwork in different ways. So that's what I'm really excited about.
Totally. You know, people are like creatures of habit, right? So they're like stuck on this one chain that they're familiar with.
Some people are so chain maxis too. I'm like, dude, it's so fun to like explore different ones. They all can kind of do different things.
Totally.
So yeah.
I think I have one ordinal. Not that I don't like ordinals. It's just that I don't have a lot of Bitcoin. So I need to first acquire more Bitcoin. I guess I need to swap over some ETH, but all my ETH is locked away in my ledger. But I'm definitely looking forward to purchasing more pieces on
for sure. It's great. It's been great seeing a lot of different artists come over and do different things. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of be a part of that too. It's like, who wouldn't want their art on Bitcoin also, you know, just for the longevity, you know. I'm stoked that my artwork's inscribed. It'll kind of be there forever, you know. It's permanent, it's immutable, and all those kind of things. So I think it's really exciting, and we truck forward.
Totally. And you know, you mentioned that with still life, there's a departure, you know, from the style of drawing in your Genesis collection of letters. What would you say are kind of the key stylistic differences between the two collections, and what kind of motivated this change in direction?
Yeah, I think that's harking back to a lot of things we were talking about earlier. I think in letters, kind of the brushes and the materials that I were using was, you know, super bold, circular line weights that kind of create these, you know, I'd say bold is the best word, bold shapes and symbols, where these are much more gestural, ephemeral even would be a good art word to use. Fleeting, much more abstract. I think, you know, it's just an abstraction of my letters collection, really. It's a different iteration into there with using different mediums, like I was talking about, like scanning in imagery, doing digital collaging. I hadn't really dove into Photoshop really. So that was kind of new for me, just to kind of crop and dither down these artworks and things like that. So just trying new things that I hadn't done before, which led me to all these, which I'm super stoked on.
There's definitely a lot of crossover and similarities with, you know, the line work. Would you say that there's kind of a narrative or a thematic continuity that runs from letters to still life? Or do you kind of see them as a distinct phases of your artistic journey?
I think for letters, I was kind of branding a lot of my artwork around what letters had become. It, you know, a few years back, it definitely took on its own life, and people were kind of referring to all of my artwork as letters, which I don't know if I really agreed with. So this was kind of breaking apart from there, but still keeping the things that I loved about letters. You know, all the artworks are individual. They're all handmade, hand created. They're not generative. They're hand titled. Specifically looking at them in the gallery, you know, you can spend time with each piece individually, or you can kind of zoom out and view the body of artwork. And I kind of got that from letters, but I just didn't want to be pigeonholed into a particular style. And I knew my style was going to kind of continue to evolve. And that's what I kind of care about the most is, you know, my process and my drawing style and my artistic process just kind of changing over time and seeing how that will change. And I think this is kind of the perfect way to do that.
Love that.
And thanks for all the comments in the gallery. I love everybody just kind of chilling right here looking at this one.
Totally.
It's so cool.
Bear Bullard said, awesome collection. Keep going. Shout out to you, Bear Bullard. Appreciate the nice words there.
Huge shout out to DK in here. We like the flowers. We like the DK.
We got Jules up here too.
Yeah, what's Jules up to?
Jules, what are you doing? What's up, Jules? GM.
GM, guys, just enjoying to hear more about your work, Vinnie, as always. Sorry, I got my oncyber in a tab right now. I gotta find it in my tab mess, but it's awesome to hear. I'm excited for when it's time for questions. I really enjoy these chats, but yeah, it's a vibe, and congrats on the great collection.
Thanks, young legend. Yeah, I think open to questions whenever. We're just hanging, right?
Just hanging out, looking at some beautiful art. If anybody wants to, you know, request and get some questions in at the end, feel free to send those requests in. I'll try and get you pulled up. Or if you're a little voice shy, you know, feel free to drop any questions or comments right into the oncyber chat, and we will get them looked at for sure. I would love to, you know, go through a couple of the pieces in this gallery that, you know, really resonate with you and take a closer look at those if you have any.
Yeah, let me do a little run through. Yeah, some are funny, like chrome denim, like 2 over here, as in like Chrome Hearts jeans that people love to wear. So there's like funny ones that are pretty lighthearted, and then there's some that are like
but
pretty personal.
You don't have the crosses on here. You gotta have the Chrome Heart crosses.
I should have put them in there. Yeah, very subtle. Concrete coffin, just kind of funny ones. Covered in scars. This one is kind of this crumpled up envelope, which kind of harks back to what I was kind of talking about of kind of leaving that letters kind of branding away. I think it kind of stuck with me in a weird way that, people were kind of considering all of my artwork to be called letters just because of kind of maybe the success of my initial digital art collection, which I thought was great, but I was kind of doing that style of artwork way before that letters collection, but a lot of people kind of just, learned about my artwork from there. So, just kind of doing a different departure from that. This circus one might be like a bit of a self-portrait here. It's kind of like half minion, half me with like a beard with a bunch of eyeballs radiating and kind of like, probably smoking something.
And being boxed into just like a letters guy, as an artist, you're so much more, and there's so much that you want to explore as a person in general. And it's nice to see you trying to break away from like that mold or what you're known as in the space,
Yeah. And I think, the space is, I know we say the space, quote unquote, it's
the space.
It's so weird too, because the space has only been around for like a handful of years really. And I don't know, I tend to look on like a long time frame, and to me these collections will be, they'll be these kind of moments in time in my own journey and the journey in the space too. So always just trying something new. And yeah, this kind of orange one, Burnt, kind of keeping it short and simple. I probably felt, I don't know if I've ever specifically felt burnt out, but I felt it creeping up and looming over me and my thought process. Mm-hmm. So this collection really allowed me truly to kind of get out of that rut and feel really good about the artwork. And the one kind of next to it, By the Hour, that's kind of how I was living my life, one thing at a time. You just can't juggle everything all at once. Kind of this weird emotional face with his mouth open there. Probably a lot of these have my emotions and different things in it. And then funny things like calls and puts, just learning about the stock market and people's degeneracy there. That's always the kind of theme through a lot of the artworks, especially with artists in the space, It's inspiring.
Yeah, you must have been trading on Robinhood when you created this one or something, trading some GameStop calls.
Charles Schwab guy, dude. Dude, kicking myself. I held GameStop for like 3 years and sold it like 2 months ago to pay for like a random bill. I was like, okay, this is just sitting here. I had some plumbing issues, and I was like, oh man, I need to pay these bills here. And then of course it just rips out of nowhere.
R.I.P.
Right.
You hate to hear it.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's so great to kind of look through all of these. I'm trying to see some maybe other standout
I really
ones.
like this Chum Change one. This one's really nice to me.
Yeah, it's kind of got this like Quantum Cat maybe character there with this is one of kind of the special gradient ones, which is kind of cool. This one next to it, Child Support, which was like an envelope my mom had taken a note on, probably to pay, not to get too personal, but to pay your child support.
Love it. Love to hear it.
And this one definitely has some more collage elements. Same with the one next to it, this kind of, the checklist one. I'm always kind of making to-do lists, maybe, too many to-do lists just to kind of make myself busy, which drives me nuts. But, some of these, the smiley face and the eyeballs were, collage from, I think that one silver eyeball at the top was drawn on, the headphones you get on flights, they give you for free. I drew that on one of those packets for, I don't know why, just cause I'm always scribbling. So I collaged that in there. Yeah, a lot of them have these kind of, the materials that make up the artworks kind of come from numerous different places. This one over here, This Could Be Him, has you go to hotels and they have different stationaries there that you can kind of take notes on, and I'm always taking those and filling them up and drawing on them. And kind of an amalgamation, another good art word.
He's him. We did have a question from Bear Bull Art. How long have you been creating art for?
I'd probably say the age-old thing is as soon as I came out of the womb. So that's a little cliche or whatever. But I was just always an artistic kid. I was always surrounded by art in my house, and always had crayons or chalk on the driveway, and was always drawing in school. You know, not being able to pay attention in middle school and high school, I just fill my papers with these drawings. I mean, these are all an iteration of those. Some of these have drawings from high school or middle school. I think we go back to Could This Be Him? This kind of imagery in the bottom left is definitely from a middle school drawing in there, which is kind of cool just to have those inscribed onto Bitcoin, you know, things from my grandma or my parents or a younger me, to kind of have those live forever there is cool too.
Dope. Yeah, that adds such a nice special touch to it whenever you could look back on even super older artwork that you've kind of incorporated into your new collections. I think that's really cool. Yeah.
I've been looking back on my letters collection. I'm like, man, like it's kind of crazy how, you know, even that moment in time was so radically got me out of my comfort zone a lot, making that collection and putting it out there and seeing the response from that. And then how that's come full circle into now and which will continue to. So, it's really great. They're really moments and times for me, these collections. I really like to work in kind of bodies of artwork. I know a lot of artists like to work in kind of one of ones, and they can spend, you know, months on one artwork. I feel like I don't have not the attention span, but I just like to work in more. I've always thought more is kind of better definitely to tell a story. But definitely to narrate my own artwork. I like multiple pieces. Trying to think of some other standout ones. Might have to get.
So sorry, I was muted there. I was just rambling on to myself. Sometimes I'll do that. Like I'll mute my microphone because sometimes there's like yard work going on. I'm in an apartment complex, right? So there's people doing the hedges and the lawns outside, and it gets really loud. So I don't want it to interfere with when you're talking. But yeah, sorry about that. I was gonna ask you, you know, what do you hope viewers and creators will take away from your still life collection? If you have something. Some people, I've asked that question to artists before, and they say nothing. I want them to, you know, it's all down to interpretation. Whatever they take away from it is fine. Whereas sometimes you'll hear a very specific answer that an artist has that they'd like for people to, you know, kind of have people digest and take away.
Yeah, definitely don't have a specific thing. I've been thinking about this a lot as well. I think my one hope is that people just take the time with the artwork. They kind of read the different things that I put out. They tune in and listen. Cause I think there's a lot that goes into all artists' artwork, and I think they all just want to kind of share that in different ways. So I'm not too particular on what they want to get out of it. I love how people interpret the artworks or the collection as a whole. Like even you saying like, is that an MFer in this one piece? It's like, you know, I don't know if it was or if it wasn't, maybe subconsciously, you know, I'm on Twitter 24/7. So, you know, it could have popped in my subconscious and threw them in there, but I love people's interpretations of the titles and then the colors and, how that relates to the broader collection. So I'm always open. I think I've learned a lot from other people's interpretations as well. I would hate to kind of put on any barriers to be like, nope, that's not how you can look at my artwork. That's not right. So I'm super open to it, and it's kind of you know, it's a really personal thing putting your artwork out there and having people look at it. So I just hope people do that. They check it out. They take some time with it. They pick out their favorites maybe. And they ask questions about it. And, I think digital artwork is, a lot different than living with like physical artwork. You know, I've lived with some friends' artwork in my house, and I interpret it differently every day, and I'll kind of check in with them and be like, you know, I noticed this today and I noticed that. And I hope people kind of do that with digital artwork as well. Take some time with it, especially, you know, it might be different with, you know, PFP collections. That might be radically different, but, I hope with a collection like this, people kind of take some time and let me know what they see in there.
Yeah, well said. For anybody that's just tuning in, we are in World. I got the gallery linked at the top, and that's where you could come and see this beautiful art. You could also obviously see it on Vinny's profile page or on Magic Eden. But we are in here going through the art. I know we're coming up almost on the hour here. I want to be conscious of your time.
Flew by.
I know, right? We did have another question. DK had asked, any plans to mint some of your landscape work?
Well, for DK, I will do anything. He's the best.
Let's go.
No, very, very cautious of what I tend to mint. I probably won't be minting, anything else, anytime soon, but definitely like to do and make more, landscape pieces. So they'll probably stay physical for a little while. If not forever.
There you go, DK. You might be in luck, but maybe not. I guess
dun, dun, dun. Time will tell.
So mysterious. How do you kind of balance your need for personal growth with the demands of kind of your artistic career and what you put out there for the world to see?
I feel like I try not to think of the demands. I don't feel like there are demands. I think I'm just kind of moving through the motion like everybody else, just trying different stuff, exploring their artwork in different ways. So I think that will always keep me on my toes. I try to just approach each project or collection or partnership differently, so things feel exciting and different and new, and I think that's what I want to just continue to do. But I think I'm only in contest with myself and my own brain, so sometimes I just gotta let it all out.
That's how it should be, right? I mean, you shouldn't be competing with anyone else but yourself. I love that.
Yeah, I feel sometimes there's a lot of hostility in the space. People are competing for mind share, and people are competing for, any of the above. But if you just kind of want to do it for yourself, which is tough a lot of the times, especially when, you need the validation of other people, whether it's, social vanity, likes, and social metrics and things like that I think a lot of artists kind of fall down a pit in. And then of course, selling or minting your artwork, that's another kind of thing that people fall into. So I feel like if you're doing it for yourself and your own personal growth, which, once again, maybe a bit of a cliche, but it's really important to me and moving forward. So I think that's what I'm proud about at the end of the day.
Well said. Totally agree. Anon, I see your request to have voice access in oncyber. If you could, please request on Twitter if you'd like, and we could get you up here. But I do know that Jules has had his hand raised for about 20 minutes now. So sorry, Jules. I did not see you. I was just looking at the art, not even looking at Twitter. Feel free to, pop up. What do you got for us, Jules?
Yeah, Vinny, I had a question for you. I think you've got this really awesome vantage point as an artist who's done like physicals, who's done digital work. You've also done big, large scale murals, and I'm kind of curious, like for you, what really makes you tick? Like, what gives you that feeling? Every time you mint a piece and it sells, or seeing your art up on a big wall. Like, what really kind of strikes you?
Yeah, I'd say I love, and I don't know where I got this from, but it's just knowing that your artwork lives in as many different kind of arenas or areas as possible. It's like, my artwork could live on a t-shirt, and that's, one thing. And then the artwork could live in a mural in somebody's bathroom. It lives there. And now it lives on like different blockchains. It's just there. It's paintings in a gallery. I think that is really interesting, and I kind of got that itch to explore as many different creative avenues as I could kind of early on, and I think that has kept me kind of interested and excited while also kind of just developing my artwork and my drawing style and the visuals of my artwork as I transcend different arenas probably. So I think that keeps me excited.
Even if it lives on a dirty napkin that you scribbled on when you were out getting your lunch.
Right, which it does. And I keep all of those napkins. They're in a drawer somewhere.
I love that.
Or I
We're going to see those collaged into your next collection.
Actually, to be honest, there might be some in this one, to be honest.
Ooh.
There is a lot of mixed media elements in these ones, which is fun.
Love to hear that. Thank you for the question, Jules.
Yeah, I also saw somebody in the gallery said many of these looks like my black book from my youth, and I would agree. It was a I started to keep a black book or a sketchbook, over the past year. And I hadn't filled a sketchbook in, I don't know, ever. And that was really something that I was like, fill a sketchbook, fill it with different imagery, get out of your comfort zone. And, I love that comment. It's, very true for this collection. A lot of the artworks and the kind of cropping, of drawings came from me keeping a black book or a sketchbook.
A lot of artists, face creative block or periods of, low inspiration. Would you say that things like a little black book kind of help you with that sort of thing? Or how do you deal with creative blocks in your life?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever faced a full-on creative block. I think I've dealt with sometimes the over inspiration, like, oh my God, there's like too many things to do. There's too many interesting things. And that leads to like this looming feeling of like, what am I doing? What's next? I don't know what's going on. Like, what am I, and so with those feelings, you have to boil it back down. And to me, that the simplest way to do that, which has worked, up until now, was just to, once again, get out of that comfort zone and try to do things in my artwork that, maybe I overlooked, maybe I haven't explored yet, that allow me to get out of that funk. So yeah, I think this collection in particular really did. And, I've been working on kind of paintings that are, similar to these artworks, which might be like the next iteration of the style. I've been really, really wanting to work on kind of larger paintings that might be in this style. So I think those are the things I kind of keep in mind.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love to see some of your paintings. I was going to ask if there are any new techniques or themes that you're maybe excited to explore in any upcoming projects. I think painting would be sick.
Yeah, paintings for sure. I haven't really been sharing any of those or any of the other kind of physical artworks that I've been working on. Been pretty steadfast here with talking about these, showing these, but I think in due time here, we'll definitely be sharing more of my process and more of the themes and things that I'm working on. I was looking at some like some non-credited community college classes, like maybe I'd take like a welding class or something and really get out of my comfort zone. Or like,
pottery.
Yeah.
Pottery would be cool.
So sick. Or, like experimental fashion or something. Like have all of these creative ideas, but once I kind of get on that tangent of thinking where the artwork could go, what's next, that's where the maybe proverbial art block comes from. Cause I kind of like, I don't know which way to move. I don't know which one I want to do. And there's like usually way too many things that interest me. So kind of got to boil it down.
Too many ideas and not enough time. Need
right.
More than 24 hours in a day sometimes, right?
Yeah. Now I'm like, no, maybe it's time to go on a walk, look at the flowers, check
touch
out
grass.
But touching grass is hard because I'm like, dude, I should have a sketchbook. I should be drawing it at least or something. But yeah, super stoked on this body of artwork. It's definitely the next, iteration of previous artworks, and really excited to be learning more about Bitcoin and the Ordinals ecosystem and trying to be a part of the artists that are doing things there. So really stoked on it all.
Yes. And again, huge congratulations on your release. I know that we're a little over the hour mark, so I just wanted to give you your flowers and tell you that the collection looks great. For any of the listeners that are listening, you could still grab a piece. Make sure to head over to Magic Eden or Vinnie's profile. You'll be able to find the links there. And, this would go great in any person's collection. Thank you so much. I do want to leave you on maybe 2 questions before we wrap up. How do you want to be remembered as an artist, and what advice would you give to any aspiring artists who are just starting out?
Oh man, I'm sure my answer to how I'd like to be remembered will change probably every year of my life. So I don't know. I don't know if, I don't know. I think my best work is yet to come. Currently my best work is this collection, and some of the other projects I'm working on. So I don't want to think too far in the future. So kind of living in the present and just taking the artwork as it is here. I would say any advice would be, maybe Nike says it best, just do it. So I think that's where a lot of my artwork comes from. I'm like, dude, this is just so interesting. I gotta get involved somehow, whether it's murals, architecture, customized shoes, and then of course all the different digital artwork that I've been getting into. just really inspiring. So I think if any artist has any inkling of, they can't, not go a day without creating in some way, I'd say, dive into those feelings, connect with similar like-minded people and just keep creating in however they see fit. Try not to, try to cancel out the noise. There's a lot of people's opinions, a lot of chatter on the internet, and just kind of create what you want to create and have a reason to do it. So maybe that's what I'll leave it off with.
I love that. Hey, Vinnie, thank you so much. It was a treat, an absolute pleasure today to walk through this gallery and learn more, not only about yourself, but, the creative process behind your artworks and everything. And thank you just so much. And congrats again on the release of the collection. Thank you so much for our listeners who tuned in today, for everybody that's in the gallery that was, popping up, asking questions in the chat. Really appreciate everybody, and really looking forward to what's next for you.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Huge shout out to you guys, and thanks for putting this all together. Thanks for taking the time today to chat. It looks lovely. Huge shout out to Jules, and I see F. DK, Violet Objects, Pinstripe, all you guys down there. Really appreciate you all tuning in, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you. You as well, my friend. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of the day, morning, or night, wherever it might be that you are at in the world. Have a good one, and we will see you for the next one. We have Otherworld, who is going to be next up on the gallery tours, so make sure you are on the lookout for that.
It's going to be a good one.
Yes, it will. But again, thank you so much, Vinnie, and take care.
Yeah, till that time, everybody, thanks again.
See ya.
Ciao.